Let's check what this is. This is crazy XRP.
Some crazy things in here today, guys. Not one, two, but three different things I want to push out and get on your radar that are extremely bullish for XRP. Now, I know
I want to see what's extremely bullish because I've been waiting for bullish news for XRP for some time now, and I'm definitely very hyped if we get a bullish momentum going, back to $5. Would be amazing.
There thinking, what could be possibly bullish for XRP right now? As we're seeing a small dip. I'm going to get into the numbers and the facts. This is Molt Media, not mass media. We're going to shoot it to you straight.
So again, I am really wondering, when will XRP recover and go to all-time highs?
To 86%, from mid-40s to 86%, just over 86%. And so while we have that, this article surfaced here today talking about how ETF approval could be for XRP just weeks away. Now, listen very closely. To qualify for an ETP or ETF, this article writes, every cryptocurrency asset must have at least 6 months of future trading on regulated exchanges, such as Coinbase.
So yeah, XRP has just been listed back, so now they are eligible for this partnership that's really gonna explode.
Derivatives according to newly announced SEC listing standards. This replaces the former 240-day method with a more efficient 75-day review pathway, greatly cutting the red tape. Once those futures levels are met, XRP ETF approvals become more likely, and Bloomberg's analysts is shooting for an 85 to 86% chance, and they're talking about the coming weeks. Now, I'm expecting ETF approvals in October. But what we have here showing...
So for ETF approvals, if we want to see it, 6 months of trading volume or unlisted regulated exchanges. And again, Ripple was done dirty because they couldn't get an ETF before. Because what happened if they tried to go for an ETF? They got a lawsuit on there. So it would just get rejected, right? But now with that lawsuit over, or at least regulation done and getting listed back on exchanges, not only the price go from 50 cents, but they can also apply for other partnerships with banks. They can go for the next big thing. They can go for partnerships on any other stuff that they want, lawyer stuff, whatever it is. But the most important factor is the big partnerships. They don't want the SEC lawsuit. They don't want to do anything with that, right? So now what we're seeing is the ETFs are set in stone as well for XRP, which were impossible before.
That odds are largely in our favor for a September interest rate cut as we move into an environment, a more bullish environment with capital flowing into this market. As we see XRP approval, ETF approvals, we are setting up for a massive, massive run for XRP. And we know that the SEC is going to approve them because they've already approved the futures and other things. Now,
That's
just about a half hour ago, a little over a half hour ago, the SEC put out they're going to host crypto roundtables across the US. And so it's very obvious they're all pro crypto, and it's been obvious for a while.
But the thing I see is the big money is not the ETFs. It's actually these partnerships that Ripple will have, that these banks will work. Right now, they are in testing phases. Once those testing phases are over, Ripple is literally going to be going potentially with burns to the moon. That's what I'm really hyped about, is these partnerships that we have been waiting for 5 years going live. That would be amazing. If we see these partnerships actually explode, I would be definitely very happy with that, because that's probably, $10,000, $20,000 from a single bank. And again, there's going to be like 30 banks that you can see these burns happening. There's going to be probably like 20, 30, 40 banks joining in. And these burn fees could be like $10,000 for each of these banks at minimum, even at a 0.0002 of a cent, so 1/5 of a cent. Again, we are still going to be seeing these XRPs being used for gas.
But even with,
which is where the real money comes in, because first the banks have to buy it with their own money, or they're going to charge people like 1/5 of a cent to send this transfer. So maybe it will be like free, but maybe they charge like 20 cents more per year. So that's one possibility. So the second factor is what they do. They have to buy back the XRP and burn it forever. Once XRP is gone, it's gone. It's not like the US dollar where you can print more. No. And this is where I'm really hyped about, because right now the ETFs, they don't do any of that, but they do bring new buyers that never bought XRP before. But it's a very small amount compared to how much money is coming into XRP.
Statements yesterday, it's getting more and more obvious. They're so deeply embedded in this idea of pushing crypto forward. Now, I'm with you all. I am so tired of waiting on them to drop the appeal. We need to get that monkey offer back.
There's been no news, no actual news on the appeal yet.
And move on, and they will, right? But this is what we have, is the perfect storm right now. And Scott Bessent here today put out, quote, "We are exploring new possibilities in decentralized computing and digital payments to unlock the potential of blockchain technology." Who do we think, or should we say, who do we know they're working with? Ripple, to utilize technology like the XRPL and XRP.
It's probably going to be US-based companies, not just Ripple. It's probably going to be Stellar, XLM, HBAR. All of these are still working on their own technology. Some are worse than Ripple, some are better, some do different things. And it's not just going to be Ripple that's going to be growing. I feel like all these USA companies will really grow that decentralization projects for the US. Brad Garlinghouse had a meeting with Trump, potentially to say how he can save USA a lot of money.
And so this year,
literally after Trump came into office, he was looking on ways for these governments and everything else to make, basically cutting a lot of USA's debt and expenses. And maybe he met up with Brad, in my opinion, to see how he can make payment transfer faster for employees, for example. So that's another factor. You got to send 80,000 checks. That's like maybe $200,000, $300,000 each month in payment transfer fees. I'm not sure how much, but could be only $1,000 for everything, and everything will be automated. And you don't need accounting. So that's another factor.
This is what we have lined up. Interest rate cut, very, very likely. XRP ETFs, extremely likely. SEC going all in, as well as the White House going all in. And like you guys, I'm ready. I've been ready for a while. But this right now is the perfect storm. And so as we take a look at the price right now, down a little under 3%, we're sitting at $3 flat right now. I've said it before, I'll say it again, dips are for buying, not crying when it comes to XRP. Not every asset. XRP is a high quality digital asset. I believe the number one digital asset everyone should be in. And so, yeah, we'll have little dips, but just like life, right? You get knocked down a little bit.
I feel like the perception of crypto is changing. Like, a lot of people thought it was, something that won't ever exist. When you see the technology now, when it finally has something to show, people said zero utility. When you see these partnerships with banks, that's what really brings out, the doubters, and it brings out the technology out there another step of the way, right? So 5 years ago, yeah, maybe there was no utility for crypto. It was huge risk. But now, literally, the banks and government can't ignore it. So, yeah, definitely good news for it.
You go back up. That's what we see with XRP and have from the beginning. XRP holders, long-term XRP holders. We've seen it time and time again. We've been flooded. We've been hated on. But over time, we've always proven that XRP will continue to move up and to the right. And this is what we have on the table. A perfect setup. Let me know if you guys have bought.
This is definitely very bullish for me. I definitely think there's a lot of potential for XRP if it gets to these type of partnerships that we have been waiting for. But yeah, it might take some time. It might not be overnight as people are expecting like $10,000. So USA companies, awesome news. NVIDIA, again, USA company. Look how much it has grown. So who knows? Could XRP do the same?
What's up?
This is another YouTuber I talk a lot about, Steph.
Hey, XRP family, welcome to
So